everyone! Today I'm doing a video comparing the two Laura Mercier artist palettes. This was the one from last year's holiday collection. This is the one from this year, so we'll just refer to them as number 1 and number 2. I'm really excited about the new one. It is limited edition for holiday, same thing as last year. There are different colors, but they are similar colors, so I kind of wanted to go through them and talk about the differences and the similarities and tell you guys what I think about the new one. So we'll start with the original. The original's packaging is kind of like this velvety-ish material, and then the new one is a little bit different, but same color, just a different texture. Like this one's a little bit more scratchy and it has like little like bumps on it. I like this one better because I feel like it doesn't get as dirty as this one could get because it's like more of a velvety, like softer material. This makeup wouldn't stick to because it's more plasticky feeling. Alright, so you can see them paired next to each other and like the color differences and similarities. If you want to pause the video here, feel free to do so, but I'm gonna show my face now. Okay, so to me they are pretty similar in tone. I would say the second one, which is the one on top, definitely has more of like a taupey purple theme going on, while the one on bottom kind of goes all over the place. There's some taupey purples, there's some browns, there's some cool tones, and then there's some warm tones. So I definitely think if you're a fan of purples, then definitely get the artist palette number 2. I honestly think purples look good on almost anyone. You just have to apply them in the right way and make sure they're not looking like you just got punched in the eye. Oh, by the way, I filmed this look earlier today and I did use the new artist palette, so that will be up eventually. The first artist palette, which is closest to me, has 6 matte shades, and then the second one has 7 matte shades. Now it's a little bit different about the first one is that there's 1 row of matte and 1 row of shimmer, while in the second one they're kind of mixed together. What I really like, and this is kind of weird, but it's like one of these things. I like when palettes go in order from lightest on the left to darkest on the right, which the second one does, and that makes me very, very happy because the first one does not, and that makes me not very happy. It's just like one of those little things that like kind of bothers me. I just like to know what's the lightest and what's the darkest, and I like it to be spelled out for me. So again, one of my favorite things about the first palette is that there are mattes and shimmers, and then there's a mixture of colors and neutrals. Same goes for this one. I happen to love purples. The majority of, well actually the only colored shadows in this second palette are purples, really. I mean, you have African Violet, which is like a classic shade, Plum Smoke, which was in the first one, Kier Royal, and then Violet Ink are like the 4 purples, and then the rest of them are like, have hint of pink, have hint of like taupey shades, you know, a brown and a black. Another thing that I love about this one is that you do get a matte brown and a matte black, or like a matte almost black, I would say, which I think is awesome because you can do so many things with a matte brown and a matte black shadow. It's just amazing. Another thing to note is that there are a couple of repeats in the second palette. So the same, the ones that are the same in the first and the second are number 1, Vanilla Nuts, which is a matte beige. It's like a classic matte beige though, and I like that it's in this palette because it makes it more of a complete rounded out palette, which by the way, both of these palettes in my opinion are. Another repeat is Guava, which is one of my favorite colors in general from Laura Mercier, so I don't really care that it's a repeat. Same goes for African Violet. It's honestly one of my favorites. I do think they put it in like almost every one of their palettes, which I don't really complain about because it's one of my favorite colors. It's like a purple color with some golden shimmers in it. It's amazing. But if you're not a fan of purples, again, you're probably not going to enjoy this. Another repeat is Plum Smoke, which I love if you're doing a purple smoky eye because I think it's a great transition color. So there are 4 repeated shades, and then the rest of them, some are exclusive to this palette, and then some are just like generally Laura's colors that she sells in her regular eyeshadow line. It's definitely different than the first one. Again, I think it's more of a purple toned palette, so I think you can definitely justify having both of them in your collection. I think they're really different. Even like when you hold them next to each other, they're 2 totally different palettes, even though they do contain some of the same colors, but you're still getting a ton of other colors that you don't have in the first one. So for me, I'm very excited and happy that I got this, and I knew I was going to, no matter what kind of colors were in it anyway. I have to say that as much as I love the first one, I really think this is more of a Nikki palette, just because you guys know I love my purples, and I love how it has a few more matte shades than the first one, and I love that it has a matte black and then a matte brown in here. While this palette, I feel like I would use every single color in this palette. In the first palette, I definitely didn't ever use sable that much because I don't love taupes on me anymore. I used to, but not so much anymore. Or like, I meant to say like silvery colors. And then I also don't love blue on me, which is that one I only used in one tutorial, which it did come out really pretty. I just don't wear it that much. So I'm super happy about this new Laura Mercier Artist Palette. I totally recommend picking it up before it sells out. I know last year sold out pretty quickly, at least in my Sephora store, because I used it on like every client I did makeup on, and I will totally do that again this year. Again, I think purples are amazing on everyone. I just think that you have to know how to apply them in the right way. So I'm going to do some tutorials, definitely using this palette. If you have any requests on color combos or like a certain look that you want to see using this palette, definitely request it down below. Pretty much think that's all I have to cover. I should probably go through the colors though, because you're probably wondering what they are. Alright, so I'm going to go through the colors and the descriptions. I'm not going to swatch because this camera has a trouble focusing on swatches, but I'm going to find a blog post and I'll post it in the description box down below. Okay, so starting over here you have Sparkling Dew, which I would consider like a light champagne color with a hint of like pinky yellow, I would say. Guava is definitely like a light pink with a hint of peach, and it's shimmery. It's so pretty. African Violet's a classic. It's a classic pinky toned purple with golden shimmers in it. Plum Smoke is a gray toned plum color, like a gray mauve, I would say. Kir Royal is a pinky toned purple, very deep with some shimmers. Violet Ink is a darker matte purple, kind of like an eggplant color. Going over here again, Vanilla Nuts is a classic matte beige. Primrose is really, really pretty. It's kind of like a pinky brown with a slight bit of shimmer in it. Same with Fresco. I would call this a pinky brown with a little bit more brown in it. And this one's completely matte, and I love this one for a crease blending out color. Bamboo is beautiful. It's kind of an interesting, like I don't even know how to describe it. I would say it's kind of taupey, but it's not super cool toned. It has like a bit of like golden shimmers in it. I don't know. It's really pretty. It's one of my favorites. And then Truffle is a very, very warm matte brown. And then this one is Espresso Bean, and this is just like a matte, really darkened blackish brownie color. So that is the whole palette for you guys. I think it's beautiful. I definitely recommend picking it up. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll talk to you soon.